The college football experience, Oregon State Beavers 2022 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. Bet $50 at WinBet and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WinBet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET to claim your free bets today. We're also brought to you by IPVanish. IPVanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering 70% off if you go to IPVanish.com/SGP. That's IPVanish.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by SGPN Discord. Yes, make sure to check out our new Discord server. It's the perfect place to interact and sweat out bets with the entire SGPN crew. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Oregon State Beavers 2022 season preview episode. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
They got a chainsaw, a turnover chainsaw. You know I like the Oregon State Beavers. Fire up the chainsaw because I love Jonathan Smith. I love what he's been building. I think he's one of the more underrated coaches. If you look at when he left Washington, Peter's offense went to trash. I'm telling you, I'm excited about talking about the Oregon State Beavers because they belong in the Power Five. Fuck USC, fuck UCLA for putting them in this spot. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi.
I got something. I'll dial you up some stuff.
Oh yeah.
We are talking Oregon State Beaver football, Patty C. One of my favorites. Subscribe. We're on YouTube. You should be subscribed over there. If not, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts because the Beavers, Jonathan Smith has been getting this. When he took over this program, it was awful, Patty C.
They were in a bad spot.
Short of Kansas, I think it might have been the worst Power Five. 1-11
the year before he came.
And they were just plugging guys in the defense. They didn't have enough defensive backs at one point. Like they have been fixing it up, Patty C. Fixing it up. 2-10 in year one, 5-7 in year two. Then the COVID year where they had everything going against them. 2-5, but all 5 of their losses, I think 4 of the 5 by a touchdown or less, and the 5th one was by 10.
Finally got his breakthrough last year.
7-6 last year, and this year I really kind of like what they got going on in Corvallis, Patty C. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Nice Beaver.
All right. Shout out to Frank Drebin. What do you make of this guy? What do you make of this team? What do you make of Jonathan Smith? He's a Chris Peterson guy. Well, first off, he played quarterback at Oregon State, won a Fiesta Bowl, smacked the tar out of Notre Dame. But what do you make of him?
Well, let's see. His coaching went from Oregon State graduate assistant to Idaho rather, to Montana, Boise, Washington, and then to Oregon State. So he's
a Chris Peterson guy. Yeah.
He is a man of the Pacific Northwest. That's for sure.
He's a damn good coach, I think.
We've commented on this before. Generic name makes him not have like stood out to me, before, but you've been hyping him. There's been a couple guys that you've been hyping. Obviously, Chris Creighton, Lance Leipold, a few others. I know Skip Holtz was your guy for a long time.
USFL champion. Subscribe to the USFL
There you go. And
Gambling
Jonathan,
Podcast.
former Mike Riley, formerly
Yes.
at Oregon State, had a nice year for what was it, the Generals?
Yeah, all comes back around, buddy.
But Jonathan Smith, I'm still learning a lot about this guy from you, and I'm going to be watching more closely this year because it does appear that they have a bit of a team here, don't they?
They do, and let's just hop into it, buddy. Because when you look at this offense, first off, I think most people think they're a finesse team. That's because they don't watch Oregon State. But offensive coordinator Brian Lindgren came over from Colorado. He was Mike McIntyre offensive coordinator. 6 starters back on offense, 44th in scoring offense, 19th in the nation in running the ball. Patty C in rush offense.
Power football in the Pacific Northwest.
Cal runs it. Well, Stanford was for a while. They got a little finesse last year, but we'll see if they get
Oregon
back to
State.
it. Oregon. How about Oregon?
Oregon pounding the rock.
80th in pass offense. See, most people would think Oregon State would probably be top 20 pass offense and probably 80th in rush offense. Not the case. Overall, 42nd best offense in the country. And guess what? Their starting quarterback Chance Nolan, he's back. Their backup quarterback Tristan Gebbia, he's back. They got 2 capable quarterbacks, Patty C. So even if they get an injury, they got some consistency there.
Chance Nolan, solid stats: 64% passing, 8.2 adjusted yards per attempt, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Solid.
Well, he's only going to get better because guess what? 4 of 5 offensive linemen return, led by left tackle Joshua Gray. I mean, they have a pretty good offensive line, and I think they're going to have great success running the ball.
3. Let me make sure I have this right. Yeah, 3 second team preseason all conference offensive linemen.
Watch out! I'm telling you,
Joshua Gray, Jake Levengood, and Brandon Kipper.
If they just improve throwing the ball a little bit, but I think the run will open that up. They also bring back, besides 4 or 5, Patty C, they bring back their tight end Luke Musgrave. So pretty much 5 of 6.
Who's also 4th team preseason all conference. So studs across the offensive line.
Now the run game. Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a little bit of hodgepodge, a little bit of mixture of. We got Deshaun Fenwick, a South Carolina transfer from the year before, not this year, the year before, coming in, and then they went out and got a transfer in the portal, Jameis Griffin, and then they also have true freshman Damian Martinez, who they're really excited about. I think no matter what, whoever's running behind this offensive line is going to be solid. I think it's going to be Fenwick, the South Carolina transfer, but we'll see.
Fenwick got a little burn last year. Second leading rusher, 448 yards, 5.7 yards per rush.
Yeah.
Not the touchdown guy. He'll probably take over for Baylor as the touchdown guy this year.
Yeah. Just 1 of 3 wideouts back though, and that's Treshawn Harrison. So the receivers, a little bit of a question mark, but hey, the run game will open up the pass game. Now the question is,
they are balanced. That's kind of their approach: run to set up the pass.
Yeah, Chris Peterson. That's kind of what he did with Doug Martin.
Yeah, even though he had what's his name? I think when you get to that point, who is the Dallas Cowboys offense coordinator?
Kellen Moore.
When he had Moore, he could set up the run with the pass, or he could set up the pass with the run. But generally speaking, I think you're right. I think he preferred to be classic and run the ball.
Yeah, and the real question, the real problem has been, and obviously I alluded to this right away, when Smith first took over, he actually didn't have enough defensive backs. He was using wide receivers as defensive backs. I remember reading that article, and he's really he was even on record saying, like, our defense is miles away from where I want it to be.
Yeah.
And that has been the downside of this team, really. I think Smith is an offensive coach, so he's able to get what he wants scoring wise. Can the defense be fixed? And I would even say last year they took a giant step forward, even though it still wasn't great because they went out and got Trent Bray now at DC.
They fired who has been there before?
I forget the gentleman's name.
Tibesar.
Yeah, Tibesar. Yeah. So Trent Bray's coming into the defense that was the 60th best scoring defense in the nation, 52nd best rush defense,
top half of the nation.
Yeah, 92nd pass defense, and I think that's where it's got to get a better. Charting at the 73rd best defense in the country,
average.
But get this: 9 starters back, Patty C, on defense.
All of a sudden, this team is interesting.
Yeah, including 2 of 3 on the defensive line, led by Simon Sandberg. What a great name!
That is a good name.
3 of 4 in the linebackers are back, led by Riley Sharp. Their entire secondary's back. So you would think the pass defense just has to be better just by having that back. Your whole unit back.
John. How do you say that? Reg Zahn,
Yeah.
right? And Jaden Grant. Both
I like the
second team.
safety Alton Julian too. So
Got some ballers in the secondary there.
kicker and punter are back. You got continuity there. What do you make of the team? If the defense just improves a little bit, I think the offense is there. I think it's there and ready.
I agree, but we already sneak peeked the schedule at the beginning of the episode or before the episode, and it is not easy.
They had a 7-5 regular season last year. All right, 7-5. So
let's talk about what happened last year.
He get that going. Last year, they they lost. They beat USC for the first time in Los Angeles in a long time. They beat Washington. Those are, I mean, the fact they beat USC, Washington, and Utah.
Yeah,
and Arizona State. I mean, those are four, and Stanford. Those have been like.
I didn't realize they had beaten Utah.
Yeah, buddy, by 8. Their losses, a crazy game in Colorado.
That was Utah's worst loss of the year. No, BYU was, but close.
They lost to Purdue in the season opener. They were starting the wrong quarterback. They went with Neuer, the Colorado transfer.
What a bizarre season! They beat Utah but lost to Colorado.
Yeah, I think that's a back-to-back away, man. That's what it is. You
Calvin,
go to that
Colorado.
altitude.
Yeah, got him.
So pretty wild season there, but I think it was a successful season, a step forward. I'm excited about it. We're going to talk transfer portal. We're going to talk recruiting rankings and what Vegas expects out of Oregon State in 2022 and what we expect here on the College Football Experience. So stick around. But first, I got to get us paid. I want to tell you folks out there that the Oregon State Beavers 2022 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. Bet $50 at WynnBET and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBET. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. We're also brought to you by IP Vanish. Yes, IP Vanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering 70% off if you go to ipvanish.com/SGP. That's ipvanish.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by SGPN Discord. And yes, you need to check out our new Discord server because it's the perfect place to interact and sweat out bets with the entire SGPN crew. We got the season going right around the corner. We love to talk Beaver football, Beaver college basketball, Seattle Seahawks, you name it, whatever's up. Even the MLS, our MLS podcast just dropped. So hop on in there. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We're also brought to you by Dave. Yes. No, not your uncle that's been weird and your mom says stay away from him for a while. I'm talking Dave. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Because look, we've all been in a jam. All right. We've all been at some point in our lives where we've needed some money. Maybe, you went out with the guys, you went out with the gals, whatever. And you spent more money than you thought. You got cherry bombed, and all of a sudden, you spent way more than you thought. You come home
cherry bombed.
I don't know.
Okay,
is that a different term to that? It's just
no. I have no idea what we're talking about.
It just means like went out and got bombed.
You got shit face. A cherry bomb.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of like 1980s, like what the Goonies. He gets cherry bombed and he like shoots up into the ceiling and he goes,
cherry
Dad.
Okay. My point is you got drunk. Maybe you spent more than you thought, and rent's due or something. I don't know that. Maybe you went to Vegas with your better half, and you spent way the fuck more than you thought, and all of a sudden you're in a jam, and you either got to call mom or dad or your brother. That's always embarrassing. That's why Dave is here. Don't call them. Call Dave. Dave is the guy you need. All right. Cause Dave is the banking app that will help you get $500 instantly. And get this, there's no interest. There's no credit check needed. So download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member of the FDIC. Your future you will thank you. So get the Dave app now. All right. We are back talking Beaver football. Start that chainsaw up.
Oh yeah.
Patty C, I'm curious what you think of Jonathan Smith.
I know Miami retired the turnover chain. Is Oregon State going to retire the turnover chainsaw?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, that's pretty legendary.
The transfer portal, they got Jameis Griffin, the running back from Georgia Tech, who I think will be efficient in the offense.
Yeah.
Add some depth. That was it.
That's it.
That was it. Now they did lose. So I mean, we're grading the transfer portal. It's 2022. We do this with all the teams. Go listen to all of our other 131 previews. But they lost cornerback Fred Martin to the portal. They lost running back Demir Collins to Idaho State, the Bengals. They lost linebacker Junior Walling to the portal. They lost wide receiver Zariah Beeson to Washington State. Ouch. What's with these people going to their rivals? Right? Offensive lineman Cooper Darling to the portal. Wide receiver Champ Flemings to the portal. Quarterback Sam Vidlak, who is one of the many quarterbacks that got some burn over the past couple years. He went to Boise State, who they play in the opener. Defensive lineman Kelson Hennessy is in the portal. Cornerback JoJo Forrest went to Hawaii. Running back Taryn Madsen is in the portal. So I'm going to go ahead and say they flat out lost the portal.
Yeah,
but I kind of like the continuity. If he's like saying "fuck that," I'm not going out there and getting.
Yeah, who are some of the other coaches that are anti-portal? I mean, we know
Kirk Ferentz is one.
Kirk Ferentz, Dabo Swinney.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, good company. I think there's a couple others too.
Yeah, I know we've gone through a few that we're like, whoa, they don't do anything.
Yeah,
but yeah, that is good company. Building culture, building continuity can't hurt.
Trust. Oh, Matt Campbell's one of them.
Matt Campbell. Yeah. You know who else is all about continuity is Dave Clawson. He's like,
oh yeah, he doesn't do much in the portal at all. So yeah,
he wants his team to be playing together and get old together, and that's how he wins.
Talk to me about recruiting rankings.
Most of these teams are really consistent with their recruiting. Oregon State, not so much. They're pretty much all over the place from year to year. Nationally, over the last 5 cycles, 70, 42, 50, 87, and 71. So within a 2-year period, they went from 42 to 87. Within the conference, pretty darn low. That's 12, 10, 9, 12, 6. There's the weirdest part about this, and this is where 24/7 is probably throwing us from a monkey wrench. I've seen a couple people, including yourself, repeatedly talk about how 24/7 kind of needs to get their shit together. But in 2020, they were 50th nationally and 9th within the conference, which says, hey, there's a bunch of good teams recruiting in the Pac-12. This year, 2022, 71th nationally, 6th in the conference. So that's almost like they're like the American now. The Pac-12 really struggling, if that's true. 4-year composites hovering in the mid 50s for the most part. So, and at the bottom of the conference and the talent.
Look, my problem with 24/7 Sports, they've got caught numerous times with this, is just recently they got caught with this. If a player's recruited to a certain school, they'll bump them up to a 5 or with Miami just landing one, automatically went from a 5 to a 4. It reeks a little bit. It reeks a little bit of like
as soon as they're probably thinking, oh, this guy's going to commit to an SEC school. He's a 5-star, and then as soon as he commits to the ACC school, they're like, 4-star.
And and once again, a classic example in college football, as much as we love it, is incredibly flawed in certain areas. Well, CBS owns 24/7, so that makes perfect sense because they have a contract with the SEC. So, it's. I'm no conspiracy theorist. Well, sort of am actually, especially after moments like that.
Yeah, too many things tied to like the money. Like the
sport
should be has,
a ton of. Dude,
the fact
corruption.
that ESPN picks who goes to the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's just stupid.
And yet they have a clear contract with certain conferences. Some with way more money.
One of the most overlooked, ridiculous conflict of interest.
It's a lot like look. We love college football as much as anyone, but there is certainly the Don King element. To the sport.
Yeah.
Well, Patty C. Vegas, if you see this graphic here, shout out to the SGPN graphics team. Remember, subscribe to the College Football Experience and also subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. Wayne Tinkle had a tough year last year with Oregon State, but the year prior, they went to the Elite 8. Maybe Wayne Tinkle can get him back there. We'll have you covered. And also subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. Oregon State keeps a good baseball program. Patty C. So right here, the graphic says 5.5. This was made like a week ago. It has changed. In fact, it has changed, and I'm seeing it kind of everywhere right now. I see currently 6.5. So it went up 1 whole win. It didn't go up a half a win. Currently right now, 6.5.
The Beavers getting some love.
The under is at -135. The over is at +115. So Vegas leaning to a 6-6 season. Patty C, we talked about this, and I would argue this, even though they only have 9 Power Fives, which, like I know Colorado and West Virginia, I think are the only 2 schools that have 11 Power Fives this year.
Yeah.
Right.
This is essentially equivalent to 11 Power Fives.
I would say so, because this is a brutal schedule, and I would put this up there as one of the hardest because there is no true gimme.
I mean, even though they have an FCS, that team played in that. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
So week 1, Saturday, September 3rd, this fucking game is awesome.
Yeah.
Boise State heading to Reser Stadium to take on the Oregon State Beavers. This game is fantastic. It's just, I'm very excited to watch this game. I lean Oregon State, actually. I really do. Boise switching to the air raid. I lean Oregon State.
Right.
What are you doing here?
Gosh, I think you're right.
Yeah. I'm going Oregon State. Now, week 2, they head to Fresno State. Crazy.
Yeah.
But okay, it's one thing to play Fresno, but then to go to Bulldog Stadium in the valley, in the hot ass valley of California.
Who you think are the clear cut Mountain West favorites?
Well, the Associated Press had Boise State 1, Fresno 2.
So you're playing the top.
You're playing the top 2 teams in the Mountain West.
Those are both Power 5 quality programs.
Yes. Jake Haener, you can make a case is like a top 5 to 10 quarterback in America.
Well, didn't he lead the nation in passing last year? Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to say they lose this one. I doubt they get both.
1-1 out of that.
Yeah, 1-1 out of the first 2, and then their last out of conference game, they are hosting. This is a neutral site game. This is played in Portland. This isn't even at their home stadium, Patty C. They are playing at Providence Park. The Montana State Bobcats, who went to the FCS championship.
Let's call it.
It's not a neutral site game because it's in Portland.
Yeah,
but still, it's still not in Corvallis. So you got to wonder.
Yeah, that advantage of playing in Corvallis is lost, which is a big part of what Oregon State has.
To give you an idea, Montana State had they went to the FCS championship. They had multiple players drafted in the NFL draft. They lost to North Dakota State, but Texas had 0 players drafted. Montana State had 2.
Yeah,
to give you an idea,
Montana State only lost to Wyoming by 3 on the road last year.
They knocked off Eastern Washington.
They beat South Dakota State. They beat Sam Houston, who was the reigning national champion.
Reigning national champion. They beat the UT Martin Skyhawks, who was in the FCS playoffs too.
Montana. Oh no, they lost to Montana.
They beat Weber State. This is a good team.
Program.
This is a good team. This is a look ahead spot because they have USC on deck. And that USC game all of a sudden just became a gigantic game because of the implications. If Oregon State ends up in the Mountain West, which we're rooting against, even though we love the Mountain West,
even though it'd be awesome.
Yes, but we just think we want to see
a Power
them,
5 program.
We don't want to see people lose jobs and stuff like that. And the what UCLA and USC is putting up against these others, especially Washington State and Oregon State, is it seems like that those 2 might be the ones that are asked out, which is tragic. It's absolutely tragic if you're a college football fan.
Beyond that, I like the Pac-12 flavor as on a whole.
Yeah.
And I think Oregon State's an important part of that flavor.
I agree. So it's a look ahead spot, Patty C. I'm going to say they get it done against Montana State, but tread lightly because I could totally see with that USC game looming, them completely.
Yeah, you better be
looking over this game.
Very careful with.
They could completely look over this game and get bit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say 2-1. You?
Washington got Montana
got Washington last year. Yeah,
so it's possible. I'm gonna say they get it 2-1.
Okay, now this is the one Saturday, September 24th. USC comes to town. Patty C. I can't wait to watch this game because this place is going to be bananas with the new scenario that this might be the last time they ever play USC in Corvallis.
Yeah.
I'm taking Oregon State.
Well, this was the site and the matchup in one of the most shocking upsets I've ever seen. What was it, 2008?
Yeah.
Gosh, I thought, USC, in my opinion, was still the best team in college football that year. I know Florida and Oklahoma played in the national championship. I think USC would have beaten either of them. Oregon State ruined their season that year. I'm starting to think I agree with you. I think it's a little too early in the schedule.
This is gonna be bananas.
It's gonna be a hornet's nest. They haven't announced the time yet. It is on a Saturday night, but especially if it's a nighttime game, Pac-12 after dark, please. Give me. I'm gonna go with you. I don't know if I am. I am
Dude.
for now. I'm gonna go Oregon State.
Here's the thing: USC's defense is not there yet. I'm telling you.
What is the recent?
Oregon State beat them last year in LA.
Let me see. Prior to that, I guess that's the only game that really matters. Lincoln Riley obviously bring a shit ton of talent.
But can you imagine the shit talk? Jonathan Smith's gonna if they imagine USC jumps.
Yeah, down the road, homies.
Like there's a decent chance USC doesn't play Oregon State next year.
Yeah.
So then your last two matchups, we're gonna say, hey, we beat them both
we beat
times.
you in your
This
house,
place
we beat
is
you-
gonna be bananas. This is a must watch game for me.
I agree. I love it.
I got them 3-1 in September, but they could easily be 1-3. So tread lightly.
Man, I feel like they're gonna be 2-2. I'll go 3-1 though.
3-1. Then they head to Rice Eccles. They beat Utah last year. Kyle Whittingham will not forget that. This game will be at altitude.
Yeah.
They will get their ass kicked.
3-2.
I think they'll actually get beat down pretty bad in this game.
What's the recent history in this one?
Well,
though?
they just beat them in Corvallis last year.
Yeah.
Oregon State beat Utah. So
Let me peep that. 12-11 all time in Oregon State's favor since joining the Pac-12 in 2007. It's been a relatively 7 for Utah, 4 for Oregon State. So I guess I would favor Utah again.
well, then they have the back-to-back away, and they go to Palo Alto on the farm. Now, before last year, Patty C, it had been 10 straight years of Stanford winning, but by a lot of check out these games. This is crazy. 20. So last year was the first year Jonathan Smith's waxed Stanford 35-14. The year prior, 27-24. The year before that, 31-28. Then they got their ass whooped in 18, but in 17, 15-14. I mean, these games are fucking close.
Yeah.
27-23. I am going to take Oregon State to beat Stanford.
The second level.
I think Oregon State's a more physical team.
I think they're the better team too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, second end of a back-to-back road after USC and Utah. The previous 2 weeks. You know, I got them 3-3 at this point in the schedule. Just looking at how tough that is. So I'm gonna give them the loss there.
I got them
4-2.
4-2. They're home to Washington State. This game should be a bundle of fun. It's kind of a toss-up game, but because it's in Corvallis, I'm gonna go Oregon State.
I agree with you there.
5-2. Then they're home to Colorado. They lost in Boulder last year. Colorado won't have the offense,
Yeah.
so I got them 6-2 right there.
I got them 5-3.
Now they get a bye week. The schedule actually lines up kind of nice right here with the bye week right before one of their toughest games, Friday night ESPN2 at Washington.
Washington also coming off a bye though.
I think Washington gets them.
4-8 Washington.
They beat Washington last year though.
What was the count in that game? That was
close.
27-24 in Corvallis. I'll give this one to Washington too.
I'll go. So that has me at 6-3. But once again, disregard that number because it's at 6.5. I need one more win. They are home to Cal. This is a trick. This back end of the schedule is brutal. Actually,
This is a very tough. This based on how you've hyped these teams to me. Cal and Oregon State seems like a really interesting slugfest of a game.
both run the rock now. They're not known as back when Tedford was at Cal and Riley was at Oregon State. They were
Flinging
kind
the
of
ball.
finesse teams.
Yeah. You know what's fun about this is like Big Ten football as a slugfest in the mud is like, you know what you're getting. It's fun, and if you appreciate that style of football, but a lot of people don't. Pac-12 football still has the sexiness of the coasts, but you're getting that slugfest like matchup. It kind of makes it cool.
I'm gonna call for Oregon State to get this dub.
Oh, I am too.
Both Peterson assistants coaching in this game.
You got them 7-3. I got them 6-4.
So I'm on the over. They're at Arizona State. This is so interesting to me because this is a fringe, crazy game. If Herm Edwards is out by then, I think Oregon State wins. If Herm Edwards is there, I think Arizona State wins.
Yeah.
He's gonna right now. He's there. I got Arizona State winning this one.
I do too.
Then they're home to the Oregon Ducks, the Civil War, Friday, November 25th. And yes, it should still be called the Civil War, and it is called the Civil War here on the College Football Experience. Upset special. Jonathan Smith gets it done.
That puts you at what, 8-4 for the year?
8-4. They're in contention They're sleepers. They're sleepers. 7 or 8 wins, I think. Maybe even 9. Maybe even 9 if they can get past a couple of these roadblocks.
You know, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't drinking your Kool-Aid.
They were 7-5 last year.
That's true, but
Regular season.
The non-conference slate consisted of Hawaii, Idaho, and Purdue. Whereas this year,
Purdue, though. But
at
yeah.
Purdue, which was the loss. This year, the non-conference slate is harder. Although, if they still manage to get 2-1, then that's the same that they did last year. I think it's a little tougher this year. I think they're going to go 6-6. I'm taking the under. If it's
Patty C's on the under. I'm on the over. I actually think there's decent value, and actually let me pull that up while we're here right now to appear. See, the Pac-12 is done with the divisions essentially. So if they're still playing the Pac-12 North schedule, but George Klavikov, the Pac-12 commissioner, installed the top 2 teams essentially.
Yeah.
So
you've got. I mean, Utah we assume is the shoe-in, right? Out of the Pac-12,
potentially. I still think when the target's on them, they haven't proved to be, necessarily the team to beat. Essentially,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But the favorite. But what all that to say,
I do think they're incredibly talented, and they could totally get there. So
they'll definitely be in competition for it. But USC and Oregon, who are like the media darlings, you have them beating both of them in Corvallis.
Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to bet on who to win the Pac-12 North because there is no.
Yeah.
So that is not out there. So you would have to go for them to win the game at plus 2,500. It depends who they get. Like, okay, if they get Utah, I don't like my chances. But if they got UCLA, I actually think they could, or even USC. I think that USC is not going to be there defensively in year 1. I think it might take a year or 2, but it's not bad because I'll put it like this: Arizona State, I trust Oregon State more than I do Arizona State, and Arizona State is the same odds.
Yeah,
I actually think Oregon State's on the same level as UCLA.
Yeah,
and I think both them could be sleepers in the conference. The favorite is actually right now in Vegas, USC to win it, with Utah being second, Oregon being third.
Vegas is just milking the public for that big name.
I'm on the over. I watch out. This is a sneaky good team, but that schedule. Your easiest game is either Montana State or Colorado. They lost to Colorado last year. So, and Colorado had their starting quarterback tore his ACL the week before the season started. So, I think this is a really hard schedule.
If things break right for them, though, I mean, within I think the non-conference is really what makes it so hard. Within the conference, home against USC.
Home against Oregon
and home against Cal, like 3.
You can even afford the loss at Utah essentially, and they might get Arizona State without a coach.
Yeah, and Washington, if they're not better, I mean, with DeBauer, this is his first year there.
Year 1, yeah.
There's a decent chance if Oregon State, all these players coming back and all this production coming back, if it takes another step forward, then yeah, you're right. They could have a really good year.
You took the under.
Part of me thinks they'll. You know what? Fuck it. We're going 7-5.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice Beaver.
There we go, folks. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. Subscribe on YouTube. Hopefully, you can watch this thing. Throw it on. What are you doing at the house? Mowing the lawn on a Saturday? Throw on the College Football Experience on the TV. Also, subscribe wherever you listen to podcast at. Also, check out the College Basketball Experience. Like I said, Wayne Tinkle, Elite 8 just 2 years ago. Last year, they were terrible. Tough breaks and a lot of close games. They had some transfers. I know Jared Lucas is now at Nevada. Let's trust the process. Trust the process. Let's see if he gets it done. And obviously, subscribe to the College Baseball Experience with me and Noah Beanick because the Beavers keep a good baseball team. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast as well, as they're doing NFL teams. So they are breaking down all 32 NFL teams. Check out them. They got the Seattle Seahawks probably coming up soon. Check out that. Just had Pat McAfee, Mike Leach, Phil Steele on the show. So check out us. What else do we got going? I want you guys to go over to iTunes and give us a 5-star review. And if you do that, say something nice about us. Take a screenshot, and then find me on Twitter at @TheColbyD. Give me a follow. Also, the College Football Experience at TCE on SGPN. Show us that screenshot. We'll send you a College Football Experience T-shirt. We're just going to send you a basic T-shirt. But by the way, our new store, the SGPN store, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, click on the merch, because we got some great new looks for shirts, apparel. There's even a fucking jigsaw puzzle on there.
It's
All right?
sexy and they're
Yeah.
comfortable and soft.
You gotta check it out, guys, girls. It's fantastic. Check it out. We would really appreciate it. Check out all of our other podcasts. MLS fan base up there, man. MLS Gambling Podcast just dropped. Check out that.
Yeah,
and then,
Northwestern soccer is kind of surprisingly popular.
Yeah. Also subscribe to the Soccer Gambling Podcast because we do have the World Cup right around the corner happening in November. So those two will have you covered. Also the NBA Gambling Podcast. I love Portland Trailblazer fans. They're probably one of my favorite franchises because they actually come out.
Hard luck franchise, but
the NBA, David Stern did some.
They've been dealt
they've been robbed a few times.
the Sacramento hand a number of times.
Also, check out what else? What else can I? CFL Gambling Podcast, huh? BC Lions. Maybe you're going up to Canada to catch a BC Lions game. Check out that. The season's going. MLB Gambling Podcast happening right now. Maybe you're a Seattle Mariners fan. Check out all that good stuff.
Right, when the did you already mention USFL?
USFL Gambling
XFL,
Podcast.
no, XFL's going to Seattle,
yeah,
right?
June Jones, our boy. Who actually was an Oregon Duck at one point. So maybe the Oregon State fans don't want to hear about that. Folks, subscribe to get the SGPN app. Check out the Discord channel. Come and hop in, talk with us. It's always fun. But I'm on the over, and I convinced Patty C to hop on the over. This is the college football experience, Oregon State Beaver style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.